Hello, I'm Taylor Reilly, and welcome to my YouTube channel, Greenroots Transformation from Type 2 to a Healthy You. As a board certified functional nutritionist, I help high achieving professionals and active adventure seeking retirees just like you to conquer their prediabetes or type 2 and achieve vibrant energy and vibrant health quickly, naturally, and sustainably with personalized root cause resolution strategies that are designed for your biology, your lifestyle, and your goals. So this means no more handfuls of pills, no more weekly shots, and no restrictive diets necessary. Today, we're going to be talking about one of the most misunderstood symptoms in the health world, and that is cravings. So if you're feeling like you've been giving it your best to do everything right, cutting carbs, avoiding the sugary foods, watching your portion sizes, right? And you still find yourself with intense cravings, reaching for the foods that you know you should be avoiding, but it's like you can't help yourself, right? So whether that's something sweet or salty or crunchy, it's not because you lack discipline. What I'd like to invite you to come to understand today is that cravings aren't random. They are physiological. They're yet another symptom and often misunderstood or even worse, ignored completely while you try to double down with more willpower or more discipline. When you understand what your body is actually asking for, you can stop feeling frustrated at meal times and break that cycle of cravings and crashes and start healing at a metabolic level so that you're able to conquer your diabetes diagnosis and experience food freedom at the same time. So imagine this, right? Being able to just enjoy your meals, including the foods that you love without the guilt, without the shame, without the wild spikes and crashes, without the fear that the weight loss will stall or the weight will come back. Imagine sitting down with your friends and family and finally not having to feel like the odd one out, where they aren't watching you like a hawk and saying, hey, should you be eating that? Imagine traveling and dining at your favorite restaurant and being able to order exactly what you want without the guilt or your numbers going crazy. Imagine just how much mental energy you'll free up when you're no longer obsessing over whether a food is good or bad, or judging yourself as good or bad based on what you eat, and instead being at peace with food, eating in a way that works for your body and also feels delicious and satisfying at the same time. Sounds pretty amazing, right? Well, it's definitely possible for you. And in this episode today, I'm going to break it down and show you why insulin resistance drives cravings and how, why restrictive diets and low carb plans often make them worse, how poor sleep and oxidative stress shift your brain into intense craving mode, and how perfectionism and diet culture have been sabotaging your progress without you probably even realizing it. So let's start with biology. Insulin resistance itself drives huge cravings, and many people don't understand this. With prediabetes or type 2, your body is insulin resistant, meaning your cells are not responding well to insulin. And insulin is the hormone that allows glucose to enter your cells to be utilized as energy. So even if you have glucose present in your bloodstream, your cells aren't going to be able to access or metabolize that glucose, that energy, efficiently. The cells become starved for fuel, and your brain gets the message, we need more energy fast. So that's why you're likely dealing with feelings of brain fog, procrastination, lack of drive, right? Knowing you should be doing something, but you can't quite get it in gear as well, right? Your brain runs on glucose too. So it's really important. Your brain will start sending out signals in the form of intense cravings, demanding quick, high calorie, high energy foods, simple carbs, sugar, fat, which are found in the highest concentrations in the hyperpalatable options that you've likely been avoiding: the chips, the candy, the chocolate, the pastries, the pizza, right? Anything that delivers the most calories, the most energy fast. So again, these cravings are a signal of the deeper problem. This is not a willpower issue. They are a neurochemical response. Your body's primal protective survival mechanism kicking in. Now, with the insulin resistance already driving intense physiological cravings, when you layer on a restrictive diet to try to manage symptoms like high blood sugar or stubborn weight gain, whether that looks like shrinking your portions, right, cutting calories too low, or following restrictive plans like low carb, keto, or maybe even more extreme versions like carnivore, you're not just creating a shortfall in energy by reducing the availability of usable glucose, deepening the very energy deficit your brain and body are already trying to solve. But on top of that, you're likely not getting the nutrients that your body needs to function at its best, because when you eliminate entire food groups, depletion deepens. You increase internal stress, you further impair metabolic repair, and that makes those cravings even louder. Is this all making sense? Good. So let's take it even deeper and let's talk about how stress and sleep influence this craving chemistry as well. Because when you're insulin resistant, your body is already under significant oxidative stress. Now, when you add in the chronic high performance stress that I see in so many of my clients, deadlines, demanding careers, intense travel schedules, caregiving responsibilities, your brain gets hardwired into emergency mode. And in that state, it's not just seeking energy, it's seeking relief, comfort, safety, right? Your brain activates the limbic system, your primal reward center, whose job is to restore balance and peace as quickly as possible. And so you start craving those comfort foods, not only the foods that are going to give you that burst of energy, that burst of calories, but the foods that are going to flood your brain with dopamine, giving you comfort. And again, those are the same exact foods, right? The cookies, the chips, the chocolate, the pizza, the pastries, not just for fuel, but for emotional relief. So even if you've, been good for days or weeks, the moment you hit a wall, whether it's an argument or a deadline, jet lag, an unexpected emergency, your brain is going to default into survival mode, and comfort foods become a double win because they are fast fuel and feel good chemicals. And here's what I see all the time. Even if you don't feel mentally stressed, right? Because you're high functioning, you're very capable, and you're used to pushing through, your nervous system is still overloaded. Your brain is still seeking relief. And when you layer in poor sleep, which is incredibly common in high achievers with prediabetes or type 2, the poor sleep worsens it even further. Ghrelin, your hunger hormone, goes up. Leptin, your satiety hormone, drops way down. And the science is very clear. When you're sleep deprived, your body requires more calories, more energy to get through the day. And guess what it pushes you toward, right? Again, those very same foods that you've been trying to avoid. So cravings aren't weakness. It's neurochemistry. It's physiology. It's your subconscious survival system overriding your conscious goals, right? And even when you logically know better, your body and subconscious mind are driving the show. You feel like you can't help yourself. So are you starting to understand why just pushing through cravings is feeling impossible for you? Because think about it. You're wildly successful in every other area in your life, right? If discipline and willpower were enough, you would have solved this already, right? This isn't about trying harder or pushing yourself more. It's about finally understanding what's actually driving the cravings so that you can solve it at the root level. And if you're here, it's because you're an action taker and you want to solve this. And I know, like so many of my clients, you expect a lot from yourself. You've got big goals. You're used to performing at a high level, and excellence is your default mode, right? And that drive for perfection that you have it can also become a trap. And I see this all the time when it comes to food. And that trap makes the cravings worse. Behavioral science shows us that the more we restrict, the bigger the rebound in caloric intake will be, the bigger the drive for the foods you're restricting will be. So you could be chugging along well for a few days, maybe even string a couple of weeks of being good together, right? But because willpower is a finite resource, eventually you fall off track. And because all of this restriction and hard work that you've been putting in isn't even paying off with seeing your blood glucose improve or that weight come off in the way that you've been hoping it would, you end up just throwing your hands up and saying, whatever, I blew it. So now I'm just going to eat whatever I want and I'll start over again on Monday. And I'm going to be even stricter and I'm going to have a better plan in place and I'm going to throw out all the cookies. So can you see how the drive to do it perfectly and this all or nothing thinking that diet culture has been pushing on us really fuels your cravings even more? Now, let me be clear. Your drive to conquer your diabetes diagnosis and reclaim your energy and health, that is a gift. And that is absolutely required to reach your goals. But when you are giving your all to the one size fits all diets and rigid restrictions, you're investing your precious time and effort in the wrong place. When you deeply understand the root causes of your prediabetes or type 2 and the real reasons behind your cravings, you can finally work with your body to give it what it needs in the most intelligent and efficient way so that you can see the lab results that you want, you can maintain the weight that you want, and you can even enjoy the foods that you want in a way that actually fits into your life and your goals without the constant stress and frustration. Let me tell you about Karen, one of my high performing clients. She's a VP in her mid 50s now, very driven, very disciplined, very successful in so many ways. And she was following low carb and intermittent fasting to the letter for months. She was powering through her day, sometimes even skipping meals, tracking her calories. She cut out all her favorite foods, all the sugary drinks, everything. But nearly every night, she would find herself binging in all of those foods, feeling very ashamed and promising herself that tomorrow she would try harder. And the truth is, for her, it wasn't about trying harder. I suspect for you, it's not about trying harder either. It's about working smarter. So when Karen came to me, we uncovered a few key things. One, her body was storing fat in the wrong places, creating something called lipotoxicity, further driving her insulin resistance and impairing her glucose metabolism, causing her body to seek more energy. Her nervous system was constantly activated from unaddressed chronic stress. And despite collapsing for 7 or 8 hours most nights, she just wasn't reaching the deep restorative levels of sleep that her body needed to repair and regulate her hunger and satiety hormones. She was also undereating during the day and missing key micronutrients, leaving her body depleted and craving relief, triggering this cycle of ongoing cravings. So they weren't a discipline issue. They were a physiological cry for help. And I helped Karen make 3 key shifts. Firstly, we focused on quickly resolving the lipotoxicity she was facing so that her cells could actually use glucose again. Her energy returned, her numbers improved, and her cravings diminished right off the bat. Next, we reset her circadian rhythm to improve the quality of her sleep and helped her heal from stress so that her hunger and satiety hormones came into balance, and it helped her body ease into a parasympathetic state of repair and relief so that her brain wasn't always seeking out those comfort foods. I showed her how to elevate the meals that she loves, whether she cooked them at home or they were store-bought or enjoyed at her favorite restaurants, so that she was getting the key micronutrients that her body needed. She no longer had to restrict and wrestle with willpower and finally achieved a stress-free relationship with food as her body was healing and starting to thrive. 2 weeks into this work together, no more binges, and her fasting glucose dropped 32 points. She told me, I finally feel in control without trying so hard to be in control. And within 12 weeks, her doctor declared her non-diabetic, came off all her diabetes meds, and released 18 pounds and has maintained her excellent health now for over 2 years. So this is what happens when you stop fighting against your body and start giving it exactly what it needs to heal and come into optimal health. I want to leave you with this: 3 places to focus so that you can finally break the craving cycle and conquer your diabetes once and for all. Number 1, understand that cravings are a physiological signal, not a failure of willpower. When you're dealing with insulin resistance, your cells are starved for energy, and this creates intense internal pressure. So until you resolve what is preventing your cells from utilizing that glucose, your brain will keep sending craving signals for more energy. So this is not a mindset issue, it's a metabolic one. Number 2, stop stacking restriction on top of your dysfunction. Skipping meals, cutting carbs, shrinking your portion sizes might seem like the thing to do when you're trying to lower your blood sugar or lose weight, but when your physiology is already compromised, those one size fits all strategies are just pouring fuel on the fire, and the result is more cravings and more metabolic damage over time. Number 3, identify and correct the main contributing factors for your diabetes diagnosis. Cravings are just the tip of the iceberg, right? You need to know exactly what's keeping your system inflamed, dysregulated, or underfueled. And that could include lipotoxicity, nervous system hyperactivations, sleep-related hormonal dysfunction, micronutrient depletion, poor glucose transport. Every person is different. And sadly, most doctors don't test for these things or have the time or education to decode these issues for you. And that's why it's nearly impossible to solve this on your own, even if you've been working with an incredible doctor or endocrinologist for years. It's not because they don't want to help you, right? And it's certainly not because you aren't smart or capable. It's because what's driving your cravings and diabetes diagnosis is physiologically complex, it's deeply individual, and it requires hand-holding support to resolve. And that's why I'd like to invite you for a free 45-minute insulin resistance audit with me. This is a strategic deep dive session where we're going to uncover what's actually driving your cravings, your blood sugar issues, and the other symptoms that you've been facing. We'll identify the hidden metabolic dysfunctions that are keeping you stuck in survival mode and preventing you from getting the results that you want in your health. And you'll be able to walk away with a clear, science evidenced roadmap to reverse your insulin resistance without restriction, without frustration, without the cravings or second guessing every bite of food. You'll be able to leave this session with clarity on your root causes, confidence in what your body actually needs to heal, and a personalized plan that feels both aligned and doable. So if you're ready to stop the craving cycle and conquer your diabetes diagnosis and achieve the thriving energy and health that you deserve, then click the link in my bio or in the summary section below and book in for your audit with me, Taylor Reilly, and I'm looking forward to supporting you. See you soon.